I don't know if it's going to work. I have very little plan going in, and my confidence is low. How is this lamp beating me? I love my cats. I love my cats so much. But sometimes my cats can be little menaces. There are certain sacrifices we make when we bring a cat into our home, and it's just an acknowledgement that sometimes things will get broken. I've taken a policy upon myself to not freak out when things get broken and instead accept the fact that this is the trade off. I wanted cats in my home. I know that they can destroy things, and I've accepted that reality. So instead of getting pissed off at them in a way that they won't understand, I've elected to fix things that they break in a creative way. My cat Mary, for example, has decided that she doesn't like this lampshade. She doesn't mess with any of our other lampshades. I don't know what it is about this one in particular. It's made with a inner layer of plastic, like very rigid plastic, and then fabric on the outside of that. And the plastic on the inside is completely shattered and completely falling apart. Little pieces of plastic will come out. So while this is still technically functional as a lampshade, it's not living its best life. So I have decided to DIY a new lampshade. Out of this lampshade, I am going to take this apart. I have no idea how difficult that's going to be, and use the wire frame on the inside as a base for a new lampshade project. But I have some white cotton yarn and I have a crochet hook, and we're going to see what happens. Look at my cute iPad case. I've seen other people have this. This isn't like a new thing, and I'm not a person that like discovered the composition notebook iPad case, but that doesn't mean I don't love it. So I'm gonna search around on Pinterest and see if I can find any inspo. Okay, immediately in love with this. I really love this. Ooh, she's a Ravelry pattern. Look at that. That's cool. Mine's not hanging, so I couldn't really do that funnel shape because it'll have to hold its own shape. Um, I do love the idea of getting a larger hoop and sticking it in the middle. I think I would love to do that. I can do that. I like this flower one, but it's also not very me. I love to have a soft glow with my lighting in my house. And so I don't really think having it be completely see-through would be the vibe for me because I want this to be practical. Again, I love this. It's beautiful, and I would love to have it as like a hanging piece, but I don't know if I would use it as a lampshade. Yeah, I'm thinking I might just be kind of boring. I don't want to call it boring, but I might just do nice, clean single crochets and go for like a really interesting shape. I could just scroll for hours and hours. Oh, I'm pretty sure that they actually would stretch this out to look tight like these other ones. However, I kind of love the idea of just using the main top wire there and just making it loose over the top. Okay, I'm gonna try two things, and it's very possible none of this is going to work out, and I'm just gonna accept that that's okay. I'm gonna be brave. I think I'm gonna do a loose one because I haven't seen that. Okay, so I'm gonna draw out what I'm thinking so you can see how my brain works. That was a terrible circle. How do I make that into more of a circle? There we go. This doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect. What I need to see, keep saying out loud to myself, it does not need to be perfect. So the lamp base that I have kind of looks like a coconut. It's just a circle that's literally the size of a coconut and it's brown. I got it from Target. Like, I'm trying way too hard to make this like perfect. You know what? Good enough. Freaking good enough. I'm gonna stop holding myself to an impossible standard. All right. I bet I make weird faces when I do stuff on Procreate. Idea number one is to do starting crochet around here and then doing increases so it kind of forms like a little blanket, I guess. So imagine like a big flat circle with a hole in the middle, and you just drape that over the lamp. I kind of like that. So that's idea number one. Idea number two would be to do. I love you, Pippin, but I can't do this when you're here. Idea number two would be to add another wire to the middle. So the other idea would be to do a shaped lampshade. It's bothering me that this isn't perfect. While I try and decide on what idea I want to go with, I'm going to take apart the lampshade. Maybe just do it right here over this blanket, and then I'll just like shake the blanket out into the trash. It's probably not the best way to do things, but whatever. Yay! Okay, but you can totally see what I mean about the inside part being all cracked and the plastic bits falling out. So, as I was brainstorming, I realized that there was a big thing that I did not consider, and that is the structure of the lamp. So, this is pretty obvious and pretty basic as soon as I took this thing apart. But you have your base piece that fits on the light bulb, and then you have your top piece that sits on nothing. So, what's going to hold it up? I did not think that through, but I bought some crafting wire, and I'm going to try making this structurally sound. This is pretty bendable, so I'm not sure if it can even hold the weight of these two wires because I'm also adding this one to it. And this one's pretty heavy. I don't know, they're both pretty heavy, and then it has to also hold the weight of maybe of a ball of yarn, maybe more, maybe less. I don't know how much yarn this is going to take. So we'll see if I can get the structure of this to work or make sense. The good thing though is if it doesn't work out, that's fine as far as structure goes, because I can still do the idea I have in mind and instead use it as a hanging chandelier because gravity will hold both the rings in place. Actually, all three, because I'm using 3 rings. I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this is strong enough to hold the weight of all the rings that it needs to hold. And my confidence is low. The good thing is, if it doesn't work out as a lamp this way, I can always use it as a chandelier lampshade where it's a hanging lampshade. And that would work because gravity would hold all the rings in place and that would be fine. And you can get like string light bulbs that plug in for pretty inexpensive at IKEA or Amazon or wherever. So that's my backup plan in case this does not work as I suspect it might not. So I'm gonna mess around with the wire for a little bit and see if I can get the shape to be close to what I want it. I would love to explore with lampshades more. I wish I had welding equipment so that I could weld lampshades or lamp frames because there's so many cool ideas that I'm getting right now. I get how this sounds, and it sounds really corny, and it is, but I like for a project to tell me what it wants to be. I figure if I look at it, eventually I'll figure out what needs to be done, and I cannot. This is what the wire looks like. I tried so many different things. None of it works. This wire is so weak. It's not going to hold any weight. This might have to be a hanging lampshade, and that's okay. The goal was to fix the lampshade. Things don't work out the way we planned, and that's fine. But now I'm wondering how I would do a hanging light. Where would the yarn go? Where would I cast on? I can do this. I made some progress last night. This is what I've done so far. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how I feel about it. The current plan that might change is doing a pendant light and having it hang. You see where that light's coming from over here? That's a lamp that's currently sitting on my record player, and it's been annoying me because I've been wanting to use my record player, and every time I want to put in a record, I have to take the lamp off and set it on the couch or on the ground, and it's just so inconvenient. I know you're cuter than me, but people are expecting to see me talk, not see your butt. So yeah, the record player, it's really annoying. So I've been wanting to do a pendant light or a hanging light instead, but there's not a lot of room over there because oh my goodness. I'm keeping this in. I'm not going to reshoot this. So my idea is to buy a pendant light, which is just a light bulb attached to a cord that plugs into the wall, and hang the cord up on the ceiling and have it hanging like this. And then what I'll do is drape this piece over the frame. Confidence level, 3 out of 10. But I'm going to keep going and see what happens because I don't have a better idea at this time. So I'm just going to keep going with this idea. There's a world where this turns out cute. There's a possibility this can turn out cute, but I can't see it yet. So I am going to continue working on this. What I'm doing is I took some of that wire that I showed you yesterday, the crafting wire, and I wrapped it around a small circular bottle 3 times and then cast it on off of that. And I'm just going to keep making this bigger and bigger and bigger until it's just a large flat circle. And hopefully when I go to drape it, it'll drape in an interesting organic way. The reason why I'm going with this style, because I also debated something more structured and angular. And I want to try the draping first because my living room, especially the parts that you can see, are very structured and angular. There are lots of lines. The couch is very blocky. The cushions even have stripes. It's very lines and angles all over the place. And it needs a little more balance. And so I'd like to bring in some more organically shaped pieces. And I'm hoping that this piece, because it matches with a lot of the other stuff in the room, color and texture wise, it will make sense while bringing in a little bit of organic shapes. We'll see. This is all very instinct based, and I still don't have much of a plan other than just make this bigger. I have done 1 row today and my forearm is already killing me. I have officially used up 1 ball of yarn making this circle thing. It's kind of giving me ruffled flower, and blocking is really important here. So when I go to wash this for the first time and mold it into the shape it'll be, I've worked with this material before, so I know it'll stiffen and hold its shape pretty well. So I get to decide, do I want to mold it to make it more ruffly or more smooth? I think I could lean into the flower vibe. I think I'm done with this piece, but I don't think I want this piece to be the only piece of the puzzle. How many times can I say the word piece? What I'm debating doing next is casting on around this big bottom ring, kind of like a tiered ruffly skirt. And it would lean into like a really crinkly flower. My gut is telling me another layer of ruffles, and depending on how I like that, maybe doing several layers of ruffles using these other hoops that I have. let the record reflect, I still have minimal confidence that this is going to work out. I feel like something is going to go horribly wrong. I feel like I'm just going to finish this and hate it, but we move forward. The hoop has glue residue left over from when I removed the original lampshade, and it's so sticky. Status update. Here's where I'm at so far with the second layer. And I'm starting to have slightly more faith that this will work out, but it's gone from like a 3 out of 10 confidence level to like a 5 out of 10 confidence level. So take it with a grain of salt. So I'm still thinking do this layer on top of this layer and continue this bottom one until it's wider. I have maybe finished the second layer of my multi-tiered lampshade that I got going here, and I have to figure out what I want to do for the next tier. So to give you a little idea, this is the part where you just trust the process, but to give you an idea, here's where we're at. So I know I want to do a third layer, but I haven't decided what I want that third layer to be yet. I have 2 hoops left, a big one and a medium-sized one that is the same size that I used for this base piece because it came off of the top of the lamp that I'm recycling. Is it recycling or reusing? Because technically with recycling, you're using up a part for a different purpose than it's intended. But since it's still going to be part of a lampshade, though not the same part of a lampshade it used to be, is it recycling? You know, looking at these, I'm kind of leaning towards the smaller hoop. So I want to get some more light bulb coverage, and I'm going to do that. So I'm bouncing between 3 different ideas with the smaller ring. Idea number 1, I do another layer of ruffles and I do it about as wide as this one is and put it on the bottom so it gives us that like ruffly layered flower look. Idea number 2 is that I have something that comes down a lot further, is more cylindrical than just like wide and flat, something that comes down. And then idea number 3 is kind of doing a dome that goes over the bottom and maybe is open a little bit to let like a beam of light through, like an upside down bowl. Ooh, I have an idea. Okay, this will help me visualize it a little bit. I don't know. This is making me think maybe do another layer of ruffling. Whoa, that's cool. What a weird, unsafe way to store a bowl. How unstable is that? Okay, this is kind of an ingenious... Never mind. It is not a cat-proof bowl holder. I thought maybe I figured out physics. Okay, here's the plan. I'm gonna do another layer of ruffles and maybe having it come slightly down more than it comes out. We shall see. All right, I can see the finish line on this project, so I'm going to share where I'm at and what my next steps are to wrap this up. So the lamp is made of 3 layers, right? So I have the top layer, that's done. And then we have our medium middle layer here. And I did a crochet wrap around the wire frame here because when you have the top layer on here and it's hanging from above, you could see in here and the silver wire really stood out. And now that I have the wrap around there, you can hardly see it now because it blends in so well. So I'm glad that I did that step. And what I have left to do on this layer is just weave in my ends. I have 3 or 4 ends here to weave in, so that's not too bad. And then we have our bottom layer, and this one is the one that looks kind of crazy. So this is using one of the rings from the lamp that was recycled at the beginning of this video, and I crocheted outwards from there to do a little donut. It's just like 2 inches of crochet along here. And then I did double crochets. So I would do a round of double crochet building out this way. And then I would do a layer of single crochet in between each of my double crochet layers. So now I'm going to sew this piece onto here. So this bottom layer is going to fit into the middle layer like this. So I knew I wanted some sort of cord cover when I decided to hang up the lamp as it was. It was completely unfinished at that point, but I wanted to get a general idea. I had only finished two of the tiers, so I strung it up anyways with the cord and kind of hung it up on the ceiling in a makeshift way and found that I did not really like the way that it looked with a bare cord. It just stood out too much in a negative way. It didn't go with the rest of the room, and I could not unsee the cord. So I decided to do a cord cover. I initially wanted to do a crochet cord cover that wrapped around the cord and hugged it pretty tight. However, I was a little nervous that that would be too much of a fire hazard, and after doing a little bit of research, I instead decided to go with a fabric cord cover. I looked online to see if I could buy one, however, they were pretty expensive. So I did a bit of research and found that most cord covers are made of 100% linen or 100% cotton, and I decided to just buy myself 100% cotton fabric and make a cord cover myself for $6 worth of fabric. I just cut the fabric into long strips, sewed that into tubes, and strung it along the cord. I spent the next 2 days just finishing each of the layers on the lamp and putting everything together. I can't wait to show you how it turned out. Final thoughts about the lamp. I'm going to go ahead and give myself 8 out of 10 on this one. Starting with the things that I really love. I love the cord cover. I'm really happy with how that turned out. I used a 100% cotton fabric, and I think the drape of it is really nice. I'm really happy with how it looks. The lampshade itself, I love the shape of it. I really like the drape of it, and I like the overall effect. The thing I'm not in love with is the size. I really would love for each tier to be bigger, like 3 inches in radius bigger, so 6 inches in diameter larger on each layer. Because in the space, it looks a little out of balance. It feels too small for the cord that it has. And for it to feel more balanced, I think it really needs to be bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and add some length to the lampshade, although I am going to sit with it for a while. And I probably won't be adjusting it for like a month or two because I really want to live with it and get a feel for it and see if maybe I change my mind or if I think that a different size would be better. So I'm going to go ahead and live with it for a little bit, but I'm really happy with this. I was a little nervous when my husband came out and saw it for the first time, but he loved it. He was like, this looks so cool. So that really made me feel better about it. I mean, you don't need validation, but sometimes it helps. My cats also love it. They've really been enjoying sitting under the spotlight. It's an LED bulb, so it doesn't let off any heat, which is why I was comfortable making a lampshade in the first place. Um, but they still just like being in the light.